All right, hello and welcome. As always, God bless America. Today we're going to be going over a video from the Five talking about Joe Biden literally letting terrorists in. So let's get straight into it in high speed.
Think these pro-Hamas students are crazy? Just wait until Joe Biden dumps the real thing in your town. The Biden administration is considering welcoming certain Palestinians to the U.S. as refugees. Keep this in mind. Egypt and other Arab countries have been unwilling to take them in. Here is the White House today.
We are constantly evaluating policy proposals to further support Palestinians who are family members of American citizens and may want to come to the United States. So we're evaluating it. We don't have anything to announce at this time.
Biden's plan to take in Palestinian refugees is no doubt an appeasement to the squad. The merry band of radical lawmakers were outraged by the police crackdown on anti-Semitic students at Columbia. AOC was lobbing threats at Mayor Eric Adams, saying, quote, "If any kid is hurt tonight, responsibility will fall on the mayor and university."
The responsibility will fall on the over 18 person that is breaking the law, breaking windows. Disorderly conduct. It has nothing to do with the mayor. These people, the AOC is an idiot, along with the whole squad.
City presidents and her comrades are also seething.
These state-sanctioned violence, including the arrest and threatened felony prosecutions of students, can only be seen as explicit effort
For destroying property over $1,000. If you destroy $1,000 worth of property that is not yours, it's a felony and you deserve to go to jail.
to silence students and take away their First Amendment rights.
The anti-Semitism bill that Mike Lawler has a definition that is so broad that many of the Jewish groups like J Street and Nexus and others cannot support. So why?
That's because you're persecuting the Jewish people. They are literally yelling death to Israel and death to America. This is ridiculous. I can't believe I'm even seeing this.
Why would you do that except if you want to weaponize anti-Semitism and you want to use it as a political ploy?
You know, Jesse, one of the biggest two issues in this country right now is immigration. And Joe Biden believes that the way to solve it is to bring in more Palestinians when the people in Egypt and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and Lebanon will not refuse, actually, to take them in.
Have you seen the polling on Palestinians? They support October 7th, they support 9/11. It's like
that right there admits they did a poll on these Palestinians they're trying to bring into the country, and they support 9/11. Killed thousands of innocent Americans, and they support it. And Joe Biden is still willing to bring them into the country. This is appalling. It's disgusting. They're literally bringing terrorists in.
ticking time bomb. Of course, Joe Biden says, come on in. Now, Judge, if someone steals my car and they go on a joyride, I call 911. I say, this is what the suspect looked like. This is what my car make and model is. This is the last date and time I saw the car. I don't call them and say, you know what, can you please not do any foot pursuits? Please don't have any high-speed chases. And when you pull the guy out of the car, if he resists arrest, just let him go. No, I want my car back. I don't try to tell the cop to de-escalate. Okay, these people are adults. They can vote. They can have abortions. They can have sex changes. They can drive. They can own homes. All of a sudden, they're saying, oh, no, they're snowflakes. They were arguing they weren't snowflakes. Now, all of a sudden, they just shape-shifted in January 6th into this building. They smash windows. They had anarchists pile in through windows and hold hostages. They should be treated like adults, not snowflakes.
All right, Kevin, you're a money guy. Joe Biden is going to have to throw a lot of money in if he's going to bring these Palestinians in. And the truth is, we already know that the minority community, veterans in those towns where these illegals are being brought in, although these would be called refugees, the minorities are suffering. The veterans are suffering, subjugated to the illegals.
I think this pushes back up to the top three issues of the election, both border security and immigration policy. I mean, there's no question. This is like another throw a log on the fire on this issue, because in places like here in New York, you've seen what's happened with immigration force on these counties or cities or hotels. In other states as well, certainly San Francisco, southern states, Texas, they don't have the infrastructure to support all these people. You got to have that in place first before you bring anybody anywhere, because if you don't provide them a job.
That's right. Fix our problems before you go trying to fix everybody else's, and letting in people that literally are terrorists, have no business being here to begin with. We got our own problems to fix, mainly the border.
You don't provide them social services and they have nowhere to live, they're not that happy, and bad things happen. And so why do that to yourself until you've figured out how to solve for the existing problems this country has right now and border security? I guarantee you this will be a top 3 election issue. Watch it happen. We're only months away, but this just adds fuel to that fire.
You know, Dana, we just heard Tlaib complain that arrests and threats of felony prosecution are efforts to silence these protesters and take away their First Amendment rights. This woman is in Congress. Does she understand what the law is in this country?
Clearly not. Clearly not. I mean, the First Amendment is first for a reason, and it makes a lot of sense for that. But as soon as you cross a line into making sure that nobody else can go to class, then you have infringed on their First Amendment rights. So no, she doesn't understand that at all. The other thing is, last night I got home in time to watch Brett Baer's panel, and he's doing the news. He's about to ask a question. He goes, "Wait, this just in. Let me see if I can read this right. The CBS News reporting that the Biden administration is going to let in all the Gazan refugees."
Yep.
And he's like, "Let me read that again, because it was just like, honestly, today this is the day that you're going to choose to say this." You never hear any of the protesters chant "Free Palestinians from Hamas." Most Palestinians, yes, they believe all those things, but they also don't want to be governed by Hamas anymore. And I also would say this. I think that Joe Biden's decision-making and the slowness of it, and he hamstrung the Israelis from doing what they needed to do to get this done more quickly. That's the same thing that happened in Ukraine. So then it gets that much harder, and you're making them have to do everything much more slowly. So then these protests continue. This could have been taken care of before, but the administration was like, no, hold off. And the last thing I would say is the pro-Hamas folks are saying that they want protection here in America from, they don't want to be infringed upon with their First Amendment rights. They don't want to go to jail. They don't want to be penalized, but they also want to be free to say to Jews, go back to Poland, while the Gazans get to come here.
You know what, Greg? In Axios.
They totally don't understand how freedom of speech works. You can't threaten people in any way. Like, it doesn't, that's not a First Amendment right. That's a threat. There's a difference. There's a very big difference. You can say anything you want as long as you're not impeding on someone else's rights.
Today, there was an article that the Dems are internally in panic mode because they know that bringing in the Gazans and they know that the silence of the administration as they were yelling death to Jews and, from the river to the sea is it's not just making the Jews angry, it's making Americans angry.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you might have real asylum seekers, but that doesn't matter because this country, I don't trust this country, and I don't mean Palestine, I mean America. We can't vet a paper bag. Look at our border and look at the asylum process, which has been corrupted. It's amazing that we're actually saying the phrase pro-Hamas movement. Yeah. It is incredible. And when you talk about those phrases, almost everyone, I would say almost everybody was revulsed by October 7th. But over time, forces, both seen and unseen, have diluted it and changed it so that you have pro-Hamas protests where Israel supporters are called genocidal. And if you want to see how October 7th was possible, and I think this is the unintended consequence of these protests, is that you're reminded of October 7th when you look at the faces of those protesters, their chants, the hate in their eyes. They're not raping or killing yet. But you look at it, you look at the blind ideological hate, and you go, you know what? Now I can see how this is possible. We've been told that there's a global intifada, and we see the professional signs in the tents, the multiple actions across the United States, highly organized and synchronized. When are the patient Jewish left-wingers going to speak out instead of sitting this out? When Trump called out Jewish leaders, they claimed he was attacking them. But when protesters say kill the Jews or go back to the ovens, they never use the word attack. In fact, they rarely report it at all. Remember, if you said white lives matter, if you said white lives matter, you were called a white supremacist by the ADL, by the ADL. Yet if you say death to the Jews, death to the Zionists, there's no brown supremacy. No one's saying that. This is a very telling discrepancy, and it tells you that there's a larger force at play.
The interesting thing is that Biden's approval on the Gaza war is 28%, 71% disapproval. So there you
go. All right, that's today's news in high speed. They're literally letting terrorists into our country. If you say, Hamas is a terrorist organization that attacked Israel, murdered innocent civilians, and now they're letting these college kids, they're telling them that they were oppressed or something. It's ridiculous. Wake up, America. If you like it, like it. If you like it a lot, subscribe at High Speed News. As always, God bless you. Till the next time.